Okay, for this demo, we're going to do a rolled hem. This is a great way to hem fabrics such as organza or chiffon. So the thing you want to do first is, again, the right side of our fabric is marked by these lines. So we're going to go to the wrong side. And what you're going to do, depending on the size of your hem, okay, so for this one, I'm going to say I have a 1/2 inch seam allowance that needs to be folded back. So what I'm going to do is just fold back my fabric by a 1/2 inch. I'm going to stitch real close, very nice and close to this folded edge here, okay? And this will be our first row of stitching for this rolled hem. And you just keep rolling, or just turn your hem back that 1/2 inch as you go. Now, if you are worried about eyeing a 1/2 inch, you can go ahead and baste in the fold line, and then you can just take the basting out once you've done this first row of stitching. Okay, so there's the first row of stitching, what it looks like. So now we're going to trim off this extra fabric that we folded back, okay, leaving about 1/8 of an inch of fabric. So let's go ahead and just trim that away real quick. You want to get nice and close to your stitching, but not so close that there's not enough fabric there to hold it in and it disintegrates. Okay, there we go. So there it is, trimmed away. Now you notice I left these long threads still on here. You'll see why I did that in just a second. So now we're going to do the second row of stitching. Alright, so the first thing we have to do here is roll the hem back again. Okay, so we're still on the wrong side. This is the right side. So roll that back. And I like to just put a pin in like this to keep it rolled back like that. Okay, that will just hold it in place until we get stitching. Alright. Now, we left our threads long because sometimes, because this is so small, when you start sewing it, it gets sucked down into that kind of where the needle goes up and down. So I like to just pull this through as we go. So that's why I like to leave long threads at the beginning and end when I stitch this. So go ahead and put the needle down into your hem. Once it's down, I can unpin that. Okay, I'm going to put a little pressure and pull back a little bit, rolling that hem. I'm going to put my foot down, and I'm going to hold these threads here. I'm going to pull them as it takes its first few stitches. And then you want to back tack, and then continue on. Okay, and as you're stitching, you want to keep rolling this hem back, but you want to push it down, okay, because you don't want a wide hem. It's supposed to be a very small. So you don't want to end up with something like that. You want to keep it pushed down as close to the edge as possible. And that's why it's really important to trim this down, okay, because if you have too much seam allowance in there or too much of that fabric, you will end up with a wider hem instead of that really small kind of narrow hem. And I'm just stitching down the center of this part of the hem that I'm rolling back. I'm just stitching down the center of it. And again, you can use this on organza or chiffon are great. And then taffeta, really any kind of thin fabric. And of course, always feel free to experiment. Okay, again, Now I'm getting to the end, I'm going to back tack. I'm going to hold on to these threads, keep it from being sucked down. And back tack, there we go. Alright, trim our threads. And that's what it looks like on the wrong side. And then on the right side, there it is, your nice rolled hem. Okay. So we're going to go ahead one more step and press this on the wrong side. So here it is. And let's give this a quick press. And there it is, the rolled hem.